Take two. Okay, so welcome back to the How I Made My Iron Man Suit wearable video series that I have going here. This is part two. On this part, I'm going to talk about the boots and the shins, so let's jump into it. So starting off with the shoes, the boots are built off of the Pepper Cura file, so it's just follow the pattern, put the pieces together, and I made each boot. Now I scaled the boots to fit a pair of Converse All-Stars, and if you've ever been to a Comic-Con, you probably already know these are probably the worst shoes to wear to a Comic-Con, or one of them. So to combat that, I strongly suggest gel insoles. That's what I wore in these, and it worked out pretty well. There's probably better options, but I wanted a shoe that fit my foot very snugly to keep the scale of the Iron Man boot appropriate. Because if I went with a more cushionier shoe or more padded shoe, I would have to make the boot cover a little bit bigger, and then it might look odd. So that's the reason behind that. So like I said, probably with any shoe, I would suggest gel insole. So the way that this works, this top piece here is just velcroed on with two small pieces of velcro, and this removing this lets you get to little tongue here so you can access the shoelaces. That way you can tie it and put the shoe on. So that's how to put it on. Now this strap here is just a little ankle strap. It's just a piece of elastic with some velcro attached to it, and that's just to keep this one side tucked in against my ankle because the shin part would sit over that. Now if that wasn't on there, it might, battle each other kind of. So back to how I attach this to the actual shoe. My previous suit, my Mark 42, I used these same shoes, but the boot cover, I actually hot glued that directly all the way around the shoe, and that worked for most of the day. But as I walked more and more, every time I flexed my foot, it would come off more and more. I knew that going in, and I brought my glue gun and extra glue sticks in case I had to glue it back on. But I knew that the glue would not hold it all day long. But it would be easily repairable, and rather than the shoe get torn or the boot cover itself get torn and have to fix the paint and stuff, I would rather it come off the shoe and then have to put it back on the shoe. That would be better. That's an easier repair than repairing the foam and stuff. So that's just my perspective on it. But for this particular shoe, I wanted to try something a little bit different. So what I did, I tried to play it smart here, and I actually used contact cement every few inches, maybe 3-4 inches, all the way around the shoe. I put little spots, and then I ran a piece of 3/4 inch elastic all the way around and glued it to those spots. Now, once that was dry, I took the boot covering and I hot glued that to the elastic in different areas other than where the shoe was contact, or the elastic was contact cemented to the shoe. That gave it a stretchy part. This way, every time I walk, it gives in the elastic, not against the glue. It doesn't stress the glue, so the boot covering stays on, and it doesn't really tear the foam. I'm planning to make another Iron Man suit. What I'm going to do to adjust this a little bit more is I'm going to try and make the toe section separate from the rest of the heel and the rest of the foot. That way when you really step, it has a lot more flexibility. Like this has a lot of give due to the elastic holding it onto the shoe, but a little bit more would be to keep the toe section off from the heel. So I'm going to try that. I suggest a lot of those tips if you are so inclined. But that's what I did, and it worked out really well. I didn't have to repair these very much. I think there's one tear in the foam, like right here, but that was where it was glued, so that was a stiff part. But again, if I separate the shoe or the toe section, that shouldn't happen. So that's that. And now on to the shin. Shins are, for this suit anyway, they are really straightforward and simple. I followed the PEP file and made the shin, but I added extra along this silver metally part towards the inside for, as you can see, the Velcro. Now this goes along the front, so maybe a cardinal sin, I guess, to actually put the opening right in front of the suit, front and center, so people can see it. But it's actually disguised fairly well because it's right on this seam with the metal piece. On the shins, you could see this is probably the first heavy use of the 6mm foam. Sorry. So I used the 6mm foam on these pieces in the back to give it a lot of depth, and then there's another piece here. So that's where that comes into play there. But that's all this is, and there's no straps or anything. This is actually made. Now I have pretty big calves, but this was actually sized and made where it fits my calf so snugly that there is nothing else holding it on. It fits, my shin so snugly. It doesn't go up and down. It doesn't slide off. It doesn't move. It holds itself on just by fit alone. So that's that. And both shins are the same. Both shoes are the same. So that's it for part 2. See you next time.